This week on Inside Boulder News, a spike in COVID-19 cases among college students in Boulder leads to the city and its partners to take action. September's early snowfall led to damaged trees in the city. Find out when cleanup will begin. And this Boulder community comes together for the painting of this mural. Welcome to Inside Boulder News, your source for all things Boulder. I'm Jocelyn Avendaño. Boulder County's 5-day average of COVID-19 cases is up significantly, due in part to Labor Day. The majority of these new cases, however, according to health officials, is attributed to Boulder residents between the ages of 18 to 29, many of whom attend CU Boulder. According to Boulder County Public Health, most transmission is coming from large off-campus gatherings like sororities and fraternities and other students living in the Hill neighborhood. Lack of social distancing and failure to wear face coverings are also attributed. In a coordinated effort, health officials, CU Boulder, and the city issued a strong recommendation to every CU Boulder student living in Boulder to quarantine for 14 days. A free COVID-19 testing site at CU's Pleasant Street parking lot is also available until September 30th for students and community members. All that is needed is an ID and a face covering. Additionally, the City of Boulder issued a mandatory quarantine order for a non-complying duplex on University Hill. The property is home to the Kappa Sigma fraternity and has repeatedly engaged in activities that violate public health orders during this pandemic. In a press release sent out earlier this week, City Manager Jane Brodegum said, quote, "The city realizes this is a significant enforcement step, but it is essential to public health and safety. Their behavior jeopardizes not only their lives, but also the livelihoods of their neighbors and the rest of the Boulder community," end quote. Violations of this mandatory quarantine for those who live in the property include up to 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. This order is currently in effect until September 30th. Last week's snowstorm resulted in a lot of downed limbs and branches across the city. Starting September 18th, the City of Boulder will conduct a special curbside collection program of these falling tree limbs. We spoke to Jeff Haley with Boulder's Parks and Recreation Department to learn more.
Beginning on September 18th, the city's Parks and Rec Department will start the collection of downed tree limbs and branches that came as a result of the recent snowstorm at the beginning of the month.
We are actually starting now with initial tree pruning, cleanup, and so the first order of business is really to protect the residents and protect the trees. And so a lot of the hangers, as we call them, the branches that are still up in the trees, we're going through and removing those, and then we'll start with all the major cleanup.
This special curbside collection program will last for approximately 3 weeks, weather permitting. Work will be divided into 2 zones and will be conducted daily from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So the cleanup will actually begin Friday, September 18th for the north half of the city, basically everyone north of Canyon Boulevard throughout the city limits. And then the following week on Friday, September the 25th, is when we'll actually start the south half of the city.
During the program, crews will collect tree debris only. Other yard waste, such as grass clippings or leaves, should be placed in curbside compost collection containers. The city recommends keeping bike and pedestrian lanes clear to ease workflow.
We've asked all residents just to bring your piles of branches out to the curb, place them alongside the curb, and they will be picked up. We truly ask that the community help us be prepared as possible. If you can park in a driveway or in a garage or somewhere off the street, please do so. That would be so helpful.
More information about the city's tree debris collection, including a pickup map and answers to frequently asked questions, can be found on the website seen on screen.
This week, the City of Boulder announced that it has been awarded 3 Revitalizing Main Street grants from the Colorado Department of Transportation's Can Do Colorado Challenge. The grants, totaling over $120,000, are intended to provide financial assistance to communities making creative modifications to state roadways as a way of promoting social distancing and economic activity. The first project is the Boulder Meadows Shared Streets. This will limit traffic to local access only on 19th Street between Violet and Yarmouth Avenue to create socially distanced recreation opportunities for Boulder Meadows residents. The grant will also create opportunities for multilingual education on the pandemic, which includes a mural installation on 19th Street and Avocado Road. The second project is Neighborhood Shared Streets. Here, Traffic will be limited to local access only on 11th Street between Arapahoe and University Avenues. The project will connect residents to multi-use path systems and existing bike lanes. The third project and final project under this grant is West Pro and University Hill Event Street closures. Grant funding for this project supports upgrades to existing closures in commercial areas downtown and on Uni Hill. Downtown enhancements include upgrading temporary barricades to concrete barriers that will remain in place through October 31st. On Uni Hill, enhancements will be made to provide additional temporary shelter for outdoor diners. More information on the grants awarded to the city can be found on the city's newsroom.
Boulder San Juan del Centro community has a brand new mural adorning its main roadway, and it was created by the community itself.
The mural is kind of based on a lot of the cultura, especially the Mexica cultura. I do a danza azteca, Aztec dancing here in Longmont and Boulder. Our grupo is named Grupo Tlahuitzcalli. And you know, it's a beautiful way of life, and it's definitely taught me a lot about balance and harmony and trying to find that in our world.
This mural was made possible thanks to the city's Paint the Pavement program, a program that allows mural painting on public streets. The mural itself takes a lot of inspiration from Aztec culture.
The piece has a lot to do with the creation of life and that universe that we're in. And sometimes, you know, we have a lot of ups and downs in this world, in this life, and we just like to find, I like to find myself in between, you know. It's not always down and it's not always up, but I like to find myself in between. And so that's what the serpents in my mural represent, you know, the up and down of life and the movement that we need to follow so that we can get through it.
The mural took the entire San Juan del Centro community to complete, including help from this Boulder Council member.
This community is always has been close to my heart since I started council, and for the last couple years they've really been coming into their own and forming a resident organization and you know, becoming more and more confident in advocating for themselves.
It's important to stay united as a community because it's what we have, you know? And most of the time we go on living our lives without really getting to know our neighbor, getting to know that community when they're the #1 people that can understand us.
Thank you so much for joining us on this week's edition of Inside Boulder News. Stay tuned to Boulder Channel 8 for up-to-date information on coronavirus. Connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe. And be sure to check out the city's online newsroom for the latest city news. We'll see you next time.